We want the truth, so watch Truth Wanted live Fridays at 7 p.m. Central. Visit tiny.cc/YTTW and call into the show at 512-991-9242 or connect to the show online at tiny.cc/calltw.
So you think that you can tell us how to live our lives, never questioning the source from which your moral code derives. You think that suffering is part of some great plan that's been devised. I wonder, what will it take for you to start opening your eyes? I wonder.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Atheist Experience. Today is, what is today? Today is 22nd of May
Best day ever.
2021, and I am your host, Apostate Prophet, today together with Shannon Q. Shannon, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited. We haven't hosted a call-in show together, so this
Yeah,
could
no.
go one of two ways. We'll see what happens.
It's going to be fantastic, I can promise that. The Atheist Experience is a product of the Atheist Community of Austin, a 501c3 organization dedicated to the promotion of positive atheist culture and the separation of religion and government. I want everyone to know that. Yeah, I'm just trying my first time right now, so
You're killing it.
excuse me. I'm doing a great job, right, Shannon?
Yes, absolutely. Of
Yeah,
course you are.
Yeah,
I'm
fantastic.
here to cheer you on. I'm a
Of course,
cheerleader.
fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate that. So, how do you feel about today? What should we do?
I think we should take some calls.
Should we go on and do that immediately?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's party. There's all
Okay.
kinds of. There's already like a lot of calls in the queue, so you may as well get going.
Okay. I remember that you want to be in charge of this situation.
Oh, you're so. Oh, come on. Okay. All right. I'll take the first one and then we'll
Okay.
alternate. All right. We'll talk to Gregory first. Hi, Gregory. You're on the Atheist Experience. What would you like to talk about today?
Hi, hello, guys.
Hi.
Hi. I had a question for Apostate Prophet about how to have some people who are Muslim about the hijab and that sort of thing, because I've had these discussions before and it kind of goes nowhere. Like, it's very hard not to just be like, this is very outdated, like, this is absolutely ridiculous. Because, it seems like it's very traditional in the Muslim faith, and from what I remember when I read, that it is part of both the Hadith and the Quran, is that, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but that the hijab or the requirement for women to wear it is in both of these.
Thank you, Gregory, for calling in. I think your connection is a little bit difficult. There's a lot of there are a lot of problems in understanding you. But as far as I understood it, as far as I got it, you want to talk about the hijab and how to talk with Muslims about the hijab, right? What I would try to understand is what is it that you would exactly want to talk about regarding the hijab with Muslims? Do you want to criticize it and advise against it? Do you want to convince them that this is a part of their religion, that it's obligatory and that it is, not good? So what exactly is the purpose of talking with them?
That it is an outdated part of their religion. As far as even if someone were to be of the faith of Islam, that it would be, that it seems like it's more, from what I understand it, that it's more of a traditional thing than it's, I don't know. I'm sorry. Maybe I don't understand enough about it.
I understand. So what you want to do is to try and tell Muslims or convince Muslims and others that the hijab is an outdated thing that is not compatible with, I would say, a modern, reasonable, maybe humanist point of view and a proper, fair treatment of women. And you are asking basically how you should go ahead and do that. Is that right? Okay. Shannon, do you want to say anything before I go on? Oh, you're muted, but yeah. You're muted. I can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Well, that's what happens when I put myself on mute. I have all kinds of This is why you're in charge. I have all kinds of thoughts about hijab. So I guess it would depend on who you're talking to. Like if somebody's wearing it voluntarily, I don't see a problem with it. Like, because you should have a personal choice. What I do have a problem is with the overreaching portion of the religion that says that it needs to be mandatory for women to be covered, and that it's something that's obligatory. So I suppose it depends on who you're talking to as well, right? So if you're talking to a Muslim woman who feels as though this is their choice that they're making for themselves, I would just leave it there because that it's their personal choice. If you're talking to somebody about like the overreaching impacts of having a subset of humanity having to cover themselves and the reasonableness behind it, I guess your tactic would be trying to point out to them, in so much as they might care about it, that it's subjugating people, and feel out how they feel about that. I don't know. What do you think, AP?
Yeah, no, I agree very much with that. It's I think it would be in general a very terrible idea to go to somebody who is just, who just wears the hijab and to, approach them and try to tell them that the hijab is actually not a good thing, that it's oppressive and all that. No reason to do that at all. There's no reason to approach people in general just based on the idea that that you should convince them that the hijab is a bad thing. But if people want to argue with you, and if they want to present to you the idea that the hijab is good, that it's empowering, which is something that has been going around in the West quite a bit now, that the hijab hijab empowers women and all that, and some people want to go around and make us accept the idea that the hijab is empowering. I guess then you could argue against them and say, hey, that's absolutely not true. In Islam, you are required, obligated to wear the hijab. They will say, I chose to wear it, but that doesn't really matter. Even if it's true that this person chose to wear it, what is still true is that according to the Islamic scripture, the history, the texts, it is entirely obligatory for a woman to wear the hijab. And in Islamic societies, it was therefore enforced and is still enforced in many societies today. And that is not good. That's not for the empowerment of women. It is to hide women and to treat them as something that is sexually so sensitive that it must be protected from the public eye and only be reserved to those people who own those women, or who are in charge of those women, as the Quran says. So you could go with that approach, and some people will receive that well, others will not. Some people will argue that is true, but that is actually good because it protects women. Others will say that others will not have that same interpretation of the hijab and of the Quran. So it's very difficult, very much depends on who you're talking to. But a few things to keep in mind: the Quran says that it is obligatory to wear the hijab. It tells women to hide themselves and to be subject to the men. The traditional sources, according to Muhammad, also confirm this. And throughout Islamic history and jurisprudence, you will find the idea that the hijab is enforced in order to make it clear that the Muslim women belong to the Muslim men. And that's an idea that is just not acceptable.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay, I understand that. And I wouldn't go up to a random woman who was wearing the hijab and just be like, that would be ridiculous. But like, if it was like somebody that you knew well, and like you felt like you had a relationship where you could talk about this with that person,
Yeah, I mean that's a different situation,
how
of
would
course.
you
If you
kind of
know
go about?
somebody, then that would be a more personal issue, a personal interaction. Of course, that is different. Then you could do that, and it depends entirely on your relationship with that person.
Yeah.
How would you go about doing that if it was somebody that you knew better? Like, because I feel like, even if, because, like, you don't have a problem necessarily with people. I don't have a problem with people being of different faiths, but this kind of thing, like the job, I find kind of ridiculous. Like, I think, like, from what you said, it is about, oppressing women. And, like, if somebody I knew was, even if it is their choice to engage in it, like, they have the choice to engage in the wrong thing, but it's kind of like, it's heartbreaking sometimes just to see people perpetuate this thing, even if they don't realize that it is a very oppressive thing to women, and they, are of a different faith. But I guess
Yeah, I mean, aside from making it clear that it is just a fact that Islam commands women to wear the hijab, you would of course also have to explain to them, to a woman, why that would be wrong, why it would be inappropriate, why it would be unacceptable to you and your worldview, and possibly to their worldview. You could explain to somebody that the hijab is enforced and obligatory, and that they don't really have a proper choice in that. But it could, of course, be that the person is okay with that. The person wants to be subjugated. The person wants to wear a piece of cloth that is obligatory upon them. The person wants to be treated as a lesser being, even if you convince them that that is the purpose of that garment. Of course, what you then would need to do is to explain to them that such a lifestyle doesn't work and is not compatible with an informed, enlightened, advanced civilization, and their views on the role of women in society. You would have to explain to them that equality is better and freedom is better than inequality and oppression, very much. And I guess that then again depends on who you are talking to and how you want to approach the situation. There are so many different ways to go. You could explain, you could try to appeal to their innermost desire to be their authentic selves, and try to explain to them that becoming a subject of a man whom Allah or God empowers is probably not the best thing for an authentic, free being like a woman to do. Shannon, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I don't think I have much to add. It's so context dependent. Different things are going to convince different people, and different contexts in which you're engaging with people are going to matter as well. So there's not one right answer for, well, if somebody is talking to you about hijab, you should say this, and then that will work. Because that's not a reasonable thing to have an expectation of. What I do in instances like that, where there's some sort of clear disparity, where somebody's attempting to subjugate another group of people, is I get them to articulate why they deem it necessary. And when they articulate it, I, in my own words, mirror it back to them. And sometimes they get terribly upset because when they hear it mirrored back to them, they realize how it sounds. And that helps them kind of unpack things a bit. Like if you're saying that the reason that women need to cover themselves is because, men can't control themselves, which is a horrible thing to say about men, and that women are fundamentally sexualized objects that, need to be protected from men. And that's the reason that's a horrible reason, because there's large swaths of other parts of society where that isn't the case. And, and they manage to do okay. Right. So that's a decent strategy, I think. Not saying that that's what any individual person would say. Some people may have other reasons or excuses, but that's usually where I jump off. Because in order to argue with somebody or at least have a conversation with somebody, the best thing that you can first do is realize what they actually believe and why they believe it. Otherwise, you may just be talking past them to begin with. So, kind of get what their perspective is first is probably a good first step.
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
yeah, I think that answers
Can I
very
ask
much.
one more?
I
Super
think we
quick,
would
'cause
have
we have
to
a billion
to
calls.
move on. There are lots of calls. We would really have to move on.
So we'll have to let you go, Gregory, but maybe call back next time with your next thing, okay?
Okay.
All right. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you, Gregory. Bye.
Bye. All right.
There's really one thing that people think that it's very simple to just explain to somebody, hey, that the thing that you believe in is actually very oppressive. The
Mhm.
issue is you have to really put yourself into the mindset of those people, because to them it doesn't matter that
Right.
you say it's oppressive. They are okay with that. They say, well, I know, but that's fine. Yeah,
Or they don't
anyway.
see it that way, or they've managed to reconcile it with themselves some other way that they don't see it that way at all. So it's so individual.
Yeah. Before moving on, I would like to say that you can support the Atheist Experience and the ACA. If you want to become a member for as little as 99 cents a month, please click the join button below the video. That will give you access to the special chat emojis, which are a lot of fun, as I can see it from here. The Atheist Experience is just one of the shows put on by the ACA. So make sure to check out all the other shows as well, like Secular Sexuality on Thursdays starting at 7 p.m. Central, Truth Wanted live Fridays at 7 p.m. Central. And then we also have our Sunday shows like Talk Heathen at 1 p.m. Central, the non-profits right before this show at 3 p.m. And of course, we have this glorious show that you are on right now. Amazing. And if you want to support us on Patreon, you can also find that all over the description and also through the link tiny.cc/PatreonAXP. So if you want to support the network and the channel, go ahead and do that. And with that, we want to go on and take our next caller, I assume, if that is okay with you, Shannon.
Absolutely. I can see
Thank
to
you
you.
so much.
Your turn. Tag you're it.
Thank you for giving me the permission to do that.
You're welcome.
Okay, so let's go ahead and take Eric, him from New Hampshire, who wants to make a case for the existence of God. Hello, Eric. How are you doing?
Perfect. Hi, Eric.
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you.
Good. Is the audio coming in clear?
Yes, absolutely.
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
All right.
You want to make
to hear
a
your
case
case.
for God, right?
Awesome.
Okay.
So before I begin, the core belief of mine is that I don't feel that it's right to disabuse the unwilling. So are you, like, if you're willing to hear it, I'll go forward. Like if you heard it,
We literally have a call-in show where we asked people to do this.
I made the decision to take your call.
I'm just making sure. Okay.
Yeah, no, I made a decision to take your call, and Shannon said that she really wants to hear this. So
yeah,
let's do that.
All right. Cool. Cool. All right. So I wrote down some notes just to keep my thoughts clear. So just from the top, my name is Eric. I am a theonaut, and what that is an explorer of the divine. I've found through my experience of constantly probing the natural world that God exists and is the foundation of all reality. Well, what is God? I see God as the unifying principle that guides all of reality. I see spirituality as really the process of knowing the unknowable. And what is knowing or knowledge? Well, that's actually another word we like to call science. So wait, why call this spirituality when we can call this the scientific method? Well, the scientific method tests what is observable, and the spiritual method tests the unobservable. We can look at the core properties of God, the Almighty God, omnipresent, omniscient, and omnipotent. And, well, this is exactly describing the unifying principle, the underlying permeating facts of existence that is the source of all that emanates from this principle. We see signatures or thumbprints of this principle, such as phi, which is easily recognized in the nautilus shell. So in reality, I am a scientist seeking the unifying principle to all of reality, call that the omniverse, if you will, or the superset of all multiverses, which is the superset of all universes. So another way of saying God is perhaps the superset of all reality.
Okay, we're gonna stop you right there because that was a lot, and we need to kind of start addressing things. So
yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
The first thing that I would start with is that it seems to me that your definitions of God are kind of inconsistent internally. So you've defined God as essentially the underlying principle of everything, but then also defined God as the omni. So omnipresent, omniscient, and omnibenevolent, I'm presuming, are the omnis, if I remember correctly. So that would mean that this God existed outside of extant reality also, right? So are you suggesting that this God exists both within reality as we're able to perceive it and also outside of it?
Yes, the formed and the formless.
Okay, so this God exists outside of reality and also simultaneously exists inside of reality. Did this God exist before the current instantiation of the universe?
I would say it's probably more simultaneous.
What do you mean by simultaneous?
I don't know if I.
So
I don't know. I don't know if I really have. You know, when you get to that point of time, if you can even really say that, there's no construct of time. So how do you even say beginning?
So you're holding umbrage with the word before there, right?
Certainly.
Okay. So do you believe that this God existed and the universe didn't? Do you think that there was ever, I can't use the word time here because obviously it's what you're holding umbrage with, but do you think that this God existed ever and the universe didn't?
I guess not.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to.
So you think that they kind of popped into existence simultaneously? So the universe popped into existence and God along with it?
I suppose that the universe would have to be layered on top of a unifying principle. So I suppose from that, this, God would be preceding the universe.
So the universe is created. It's a product by this God, right?
I mean, I guess you can say created as the same way, like an apple falls from a tree and gravity makes it do it.
So you think that this God this is where I see the contradiction kind of in what you're saying, that I don't know if it's a contradiction, but it's something that I find incoherent, is that you're saying that this God is omnipresent, omnibenevolent, and, omniscient, but also only exists within the confines of this universe and came into existence simultaneously as a property of the universe. So you're defining God as a property of the universe, right?
No, I guess I misspoke there. I would say that while it's inherent as you can see the signature of this, or a thumbprint or an echo of this property or principle in the universe, I suppose it's not technically within it.
So it's not within the universe. It exists outside of the universe? These shouldn't be frustrating questions.
It's the semantics of it. The phrasing outside is even.
So the God, I'm trying to even understand your definition of a God at all.
So essentially it's a unifying laws of physics is.
So God is physics?
Then it's.
So God is just physics? It's just the way to describe how material interacts?
I would say that's pretty accurate, actually.
So that's descriptive then. So you're saying God is the way to describe how materials interact with one another in a reliable fashion. Where does the omnipotence, omnipresence, and omnibenevolence come in then? Like, how do you get those properties out of understanding and watching and observing how material interacts?
Yeah, so with all the laws of physics, as we know enough conditions of any starting point with proper modeling, we can see the causation forward from that. And
that's always good.
The premise,
like.
Right, yeah, no, I agree. I completely agree.
So dying is good, and natural disasters are good, and
here's the thing. I'm really trying not to jump in here, but it all seems very incoherent to me from the very beginning. I just want to ask a series of quick questions, Eric. So, do you agree that God is an actual entity which is omnipresent and eternal, which existed when the reality that we are in, or the universe, or this world, whatever you want to call it, did not exist?
Yeah. Yes.
So yes. Okay. So God did exist when none of this existed. So, and God did then create the world that you are in right now. He produced this world, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we got that. Because I didn't get that before, and I think nobody actually really got that because it was all a little bit mixed up. But you're also saying that God is outside of this world and also within this world. And you're saying that there was no such thing as time before the world that you are in came into existence.
The world coming into existence being the universe, or the reality as we know it, not so much not the earth specifically. Yeah.
If you say that that God existed prior to the existence of this world, and He brought this world into existence, then you have to accept that there was a before the creation of this world, a before in which God existed alone and this world did not exist. Even if you want to say that time as you see it and perceive it does not apply to that time, that's not entirely coherent. Technically, it is still it is a sequence of things. Something does not exist and then comes into existence. But God was always there. So there was a time before it came into existence. Shannon, that's what you asked at the very beginning, right?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get to.
Okay. Do you want to go ahead with that?
Yeah. So so we've established that this God is eternal. Like, was this God like always around? Like, is this God the constant? Like, even if existing reality as we know it doesn't exist, this God did. So this God is some sort of eternal being.
Yeah, I mean, when we use the word like being, I feel like it kind of muddies the waters because we see
entity,
human beings, we see like entity. I mean, I feel like saying it's a unifying principle makes the most sense to me as far as it keeps it more as.
So how did you get there though? So this is now I understand I think I understand your definitions better. I think that AP did a good job of nailing it down so that I could get it.
I appreciate that actually. I like it. I appreciate that.
Thanks.
Yeah. So now that we know a little bit about what you actually believe, I'm curious how you got there. Did you just look at the fact that we can understand how material objects, interact with each other and think, okay, well, therefore that leads me to an omnipresent, eternal entity that's omniscient and omnibenevolent? Because that like there's a disconnect there for me. Just saying, we understand how physical properties interact and we can kind of write that out and predict it doesn't get me to where you are.
Right. I mean, we have physics, we have theoretical physics, and we have speculative physics, and they're all within within the bounds of how much energy we can input into some kind of probe or experiment to test the result, and that output is within.
But therefore, God, though, is what you said. Even if I agree with everything that you're saying right now, I can't get to therefore God with this specific set of properties.
No, I hear you completely, and so there's three main pathways that I've taken on this to kind of come to this.
Let's focus on one because we have to take another call soon because we've been on for a while. So let's give me one pathway and then we'll have to move on, and then you can call back with the other three.
I think one of the more powerful ones is lucid dreaming. I did a practice of lucid dreaming for over 2 years. I mean, this is an experience that anyone can practice, that can do
you think that
and achieve.
So how does that get you to, I don't know that that's even an answer to my question, which is how does understanding and observing physics get you to God? And your answer to that is, well, I did lucid dreaming. It's like, you know that lucid dreaming doesn't have any, inherent truth content in it, right? There's no inherent truth content. It's your brain doing weird stuff because you're inducing a state that it wouldn't otherwise be in. It's creating illusory models, like either visually or in an auditory illusory models that you're having as misperceptions. Right. I mean, I wouldn't want to base my entire life system on self-induced misperceptions. That seems odd.
So to be fair, you asked me for one pathway.
Okay.
You asked me for one pathway. So I gave you the one pathway, and it sounds like we don't have enough time. We don't have enough time. Call back with your other two pathways. I would love to call back.
Yes, please do. We appreciate the conversation, Eric. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, Eric. Bye.
You too.
That was fascinating. I did not see that one coming. Lucid dreaming was not. I did not have that on my bingo card for what was going to happen next.
I'm a little bit surprised. I'm shaken. Where's the connection?
Take some time to process it. Maybe we'll.
Where is the?
I had the lucid dream tonight, and it'll all make sense to you.
I had the most hardcore lucid dreaming when I was completely restless and sleepless. I didn't sleep for 2 days, and then there was a time that I had these repeated lucid dreams. And it just felt completely messed up, but I still can't make the connection. How does that connect to the reality of?
I don't think it does, but go ahead. Tag your head.
Well, that was very unfortunate, but I appreciate the call.
Good conversation, though.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so we need to go on with some announcements, of course. We have a channel now that shows all of the ACA that shows all of the ACA in audio podcast form. And you can visit that on tiny.cc/AEN podcasts. You can listen to all the latest from the shows like Atheist Experience, Talk Heathen, Truth Wanted, Secular Sexuality, the Nonprofits, and all the others on one platform, on one channel. We also have 3 Facebook groups that are run by fans for fans that you can interact with. This is the Atheist Experience fan group at tiny.cc/FBAXP. There's also the Atheist Experience private fan group where you can interact with others without having those interactions appear on your public feed. That's tiny.cc/FBAXPPR. And finally, we also have a new group, the Atheist Experience fan group, Atheist versus Theist debates, of course, that makes more sense, where you can try out some of your arguments and can debate with theists or atheists. You can find that under tiny.cc/AXP fan debates. And yeah, you can have a lot of fun there, I guess. Um, with that, we
So
want
much
to
fun.
move on to the next caller. And
I'm ready.
let's see, who do we have here?
There's some good ones in there. I was just looking.
Oh, yeah, good ones.
Yep.
Okay, so let's take the next call from Ahmet, Ohio, who wants to talk about who wants to talk about the hijab being a personal choice, which is not forced on her in Islam. Hello, Ahmet.
Hi, Apostate. I had a comment on the first call you got about the hijab. And my understanding, because I've been listening to this show and to other shows for a while, I'm a Muslim, of course, and that the atheist movement is a liberal movement and it stands for the civil rights. And I wish you asked the caller what bothered him about the hijab. Because this is his question that he doesn't like the hijab. It's his choice. But if a lady decided to wear hijab because it's mandatory in her religion and she believes in this religion, I think the best approach to that is to talk to her about this religion, about the belief itself, not about what she do. It doesn't matter if he liked the hijab or doesn't like the hijab. And I was expecting this answer from you, or I'm sorry, I don't have the name for the lady.
My name's Shannon. My name is Shannon.
Hi, Shannon. Hi, Shannon.
Hi. That's okay.
Because we are here about a civil rights situation. Somebody doesn't like the hijab, that's his choice. If any lady choose to put the hijab because it's mandatory in her religion, that's
okay. I get the point.
You heard us.
So
I just want to make sure that before we keep going, I just want to make sure that you heard both of us say explicitly that you should never approach a woman wearing a hijab, and also that if it is her choice, you shouldn't interfere because
I'm pretty sure we both emphasized.
Both of us said that. You did hear us say that, correct?
I think I heard you say that, but Apostate, I didn't. Maybe I missed it.
I said that very clearly. I think that was the first thing that I said in response to the actual point.
Just wanted to get that out of the way because it sounded like your call was suggesting that neither of us said that, and I know that both of us did. So I just want that to be acknowledged.
Yeah, I also want to say one thing. Thank you, Ahmet, for calling. But I feel like this shouldn't be a situation where we are kind of, reprimanded and told that we should have said a certain thing. I also don't agree that there is a human rights situation going on here at play or whatever it is. It was merely a discussion about the hijab and how one should talk to another person that they know about the hijab. So the caller was asking about how they should talk to their friend who, I don't know, engages with the hijab or wears the hijab about the hijab. And we then talked about that. We are not under any obligation, not under any single obligation to make a remark in order to, correct their way of thinking or anything like that at all. It was also not necessary to make such a remark because the caller did not imply that they need to go out there and make people stop wearing the hijab. That was not the point at all. I entirely agree. People can wear whatever they want. They can choose whatever they want. I shouldn't be, hostile to their choices. I shouldn't be trying to, make them take their clothes off or their hijab off. They can do whatever they want. But if it comes to discussions about whether the hijab is a good thing or a bad thing, or if it comes to interpersonal interactions between people who know each other, who are close to each other, then a discussion about the hijab can take place. And we can talk about that here freely. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, are you suggesting...
What the thing that make me think about calling you, because you, in your answer, you talked about the mandatory in Islam, about the things in mandatory in Islam. And
is it not mandatory?
It is mandatory in Islam. Yes, it is. Hijab is mandatory.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
Everything
Absolutely.
we do in yes, it is mandatory. And for Islam, everything I do as a Muslim is mandatory. I fast Ramadan because it's mandatory. I pray 5 times a day because it's mandatory.
Why is the hijab mandatory? Why is the hijab
Hijab-
mandatory?
Why?
Like, why should somebody like me have to cover myself?
No, you don't have to because you don't believe in Islam.
If I converted right now, if you convinced me that this religion was true and I converted right now, why would I have to cover myself then?
I will tell you why. The word Islam means submission. Once you believe that there is no God but Allah, and He is the only God and He's creator, and you believe in that Muhammad is a prophet, and you believe that the Quran comes from God, then by the logic you should obey. This is what the message of the Islam.
So I should just blindly obey. There's no reason why I need to cover myself. Why would I need to cover myself but you don't?
Let me explain one little bit more about this, because in the modern age, a lot of Muslims volunteer their own personal explanation. For example, the Islam forbid me from eating pork. And by my college, I studied this a lot, the meat science, and I know a lot about it. And I see a lot of Muslims, they will volunteer this because the pork is dirty, the pork is bad for you. I mean, when we read the verses in the Quran, and Apostate can correct me on that, there is no reasoning for it. In the Quran, there is no reasoning for it.
It just says do it. So what you're saying is you don't actually want to give a reason as to why Shannon should do it. You just say the religion says it, so you must do it. That's what you're saying, right?
That's the reason.
Yes,
right.
If I give you a reason why you should wear hijab, this is going to be my personal opinion.
Okay.
My personal opinion is not the religion. I mean.
Okay, but what I'm wondering about is then what is the point of you calling about the woman wearing the hijab and not being forced on her? You think I think you said that it's a personal choice or something like that. So I'm trying to understand. You're basically agreeing with what I think about the hijab, except that I think it's a terrible thing to do and you think it's a good thing to do. But what exactly is the point of your call? Then I don't understand.
The point of my call that you talked a little bit about it's mandatory, and it wasn't clear to me. Maybe I wasn't listening because I was doing other things while I was listening. Really, maybe I missed it, but I just.
You agreed that it's mandatory, though, right? Like, it is mandatory.
Hijab in the Quran is mandatory, and mandatory mean. If you believe, you got to do this. There is no government.
What if I believe and I decide not to do it? Then what happens? What if I believe? What if I, like I said, this is still converted to Islam, Shannon. So I've converted to Islam. I believe, and I decide, even though I believe, because there's no reason, and I'm just supposed to do it. That doesn't seem reasonable to me. So I say, you know what? I'm going to be Muslim, but I'm also not going to wear a hijab. Then what?
There is a millions of Muslims just to do exactly.
I agree.
And this is
totally
between you and God, and between you and God.
Nothing then. Nothing would happen to me.
No, nothing should happen to you. Matter of fact, me and anybody who understands Islam good should defend your choice. This is between you and God.
Cool.
This is the right thing. This is between.
So the reason that I'm asking these questions is because that's not always the case, right? There are women who aren't given choices.
Where? Only
everywhere in the world. Everywhere in the world.
No.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can't.
so what Ahmed is saying is that it is very much up to you in a secular society where Islam doesn't rule. We know for a fact, I have encountered many women, many families that basically force it on women. We know very much that if known women take off their hijab, then they receive tons of abuse. For an example, go check out YouTuber Dina Tokyo, for example. And we also know that in a Muslim society, in an Islamic society, the rulers are supposed to enforce the moral laws of their religion, which is why throughout Islamic history, like in certain Islamic societies today, the hijab is enforced. It is only in our time and in secular societies and in societies under secular influence that the hijab is not legally enforced. And that is not because of Islam, that's because of secularism.
Yeah, and that's the reason I brought that up. It's not like it got you. It's because the reason that people like that first caller call is because that is the case in other places. And that's something that's worth talking about. I know so many ex-Muslim women, so many ex-Muslim women, that this was absolutely their experience. They felt as though they were subjugated. They felt as though they were forced to cover themselves. They felt as though they didn't have a choice. And I heard you speaking initially about, atheism is supposed to be a liberal movement, and it absolutely is, which is why I defend the choice. Anybody who makes a choice to wear the hijab, so long as it is their choice, I would never interfere with them, and I would absolutely defend their choice. But you have to also simultaneously acknowledge that for many people it isn't a choice, and that is worth talking about. And you can't sacrifice them and their rights just because other people choose to exercise their choice in a free society. You can't ignore the fact that that's not always the case. So I think that might be kind of what that caller was attempting to talk about. And that's why sometimes people like me see it as subjugation, because it's not always a choice. And because a lot of the reasons that are given for it, like you said, basically, there's just no reason. But I've absolutely heard Muslims say that the reason is because women need to subjugate themselves. Women need to be subservient to men. Women need to hide themselves because they're considered sexual objects and men can't control themselves, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Those are things that happen. And denying that those things happen and brushing them under the rug is also not liberal and not a good thing, and not something that we would want for society. If every single person who had a hijab on their head right now had a hijab on their head because they made the free choice and they didn't feel like they were being subjugated, then I would shut the fuck up. But that's not the case.
Okay, I agree with you that hijab should not be enforced, and I agree also that there is some cases, and lately in Afghanistan they forced it, even not the hijab, even the burqa.
It's worth being talked about.
And I am against. I am against.
Awesome.
I'm against all that completely.
Cool.
But let us say, because so we don't make a bad publicity to the Muslim world, because if we talk, I'm Egyptian, and I know the lie. I've been in Egypt for a while, and I've been here in the United States. And yes, there is some families will do that, but this is wrong, and it's not supported by the book. It's not supported by the Quran. And
I'm happy to hear you say that.
Of that the percentage of that is not very high. And in America, and I've been in the United States for almost 30 years, I see the woman wearing
do the Quran or the Hadith say anywhere that you are not allowed to make women wear the hijab?
No, the Quran.
Okay, they don't.
When it gives
so when you say
the woman.
So the Quran tells women that they must wear it, and no Islamic source says anywhere that you are not allowed to make women wear the hijab. So why would you suggest that this is against Islam to make women wear the hijab?
I didn't say it's against Islam.
So within Islam, people can make women wear the hijab, right? Because this is not against the tenets of Islam in any way.
No, you cannot. Okay. Here is two things I need to emphasize. That if a Muslim come to you and I give you any reasoning for the hijab, it's his personal opinion. It's not. Islam is what's in the Quran. You are ex-Muslim and you know the Quran and.
Okay, that's not what I asked them. That is not what I asked, Ahmet. What I asked is very simple. If, for example, in Afghanistan, the authorities command that all women wear the hijab, how exactly does that go against Islam, considering that Islam has no text, nothing at all, which says that this is not allowed?
This is violating the Islamic rule because the woman should do...
Which Islamic rule?
Anyone...
Which Islamic rule?
Yeah.
Which Islamic rule? I'm asking you. Where is that in your texts?
Where in the text that every man is free to do?
Where in your text does it say that you are not allowed to mandate rules like the hijab on society or on women?
Yeah, la ikraha fi din. This verse it said no compulsion in religion. and it doesn't
What,
say
what that means is not that you are
religion.
not supposed to force anybody to do anything, because the Quran also says that you are to treat, for example, homosexuals or people who commit adultery, or people who openly reject Islam in a certain way. It says, for example, in chapter 9, verse 29, that those who do not believe in Allah and His Messenger and who do not adopt the religion of truth from the Muslims, that they are supposed to be fought and killed until they are humble and accept your superiority in return for protection money. What you're referring to, a verse which says that there is no compulsion in religion, merely means that you cannot go and at gunpoint say you will become a Muslim now. That you are not allowed to do that. But if they don't become Muslims, you are allowed to fight them. You're also allowed to give rules. So where exactly does it say in your book that people are not supposed to mandate society to do certain things that are mandated within Islamic law?
The verses you just mentioned and you used, it was for a specific case in the fight.
No, it was not.
About specific people that was persecuting the Muslim. And
no, it was not. The Quran verse clearly says those who do not believe. It doesn't say these people.
I mean, you are not giving me a chance to finish. So how
Go
I
ahead.
can respond?
Go ahead, respond.
Yes, I mean, we come to the 19th century when the Middle East, when the Islamists come in, have all kind of religion, and the Muslim did not eradicate those people. While Europe, for example, would have only Christianity because all the other religion was eradicated. The verses that you bring about
did Muhammad himself not destroy idols and destroy temples?
Destroy the idol in Mecca.
Why did he do that?
All the Mecca become a Muslim. Huh?
That's not true. That's a lie. Muhammad, according to the Islamic reports, according to the Islamic traditions, Muhammad conquered Mecca. Look, I emphasize, he conquered Mecca, and then he walked to the Kaaba and destroyed all the idols. It does not say after everyone converted to Islam. He conquered Mecca and he went to the Kaaba and destroyed all the idols. He also commanded his people to go to certain temples and to destroy those temples and to kill everybody they find there, which happened. I can give you an example. Dhul Khalasa, for example, was a temple down in Yemen in Muhammad's time. According to your authentic Islamic reports, Muhammad told his guy to go there and to destroy it. He went, destroyed it, and killed all the people he found there. Came back to Muhammad, and Muhammad said, "May Allah bless you and your tribe." This is what your sources say. You are giving opinions. You're giving opinions that are not based on anything.
No, this is a lie.
No, it's a lie. It's a lie. Sure.
Lie. Yeah, and let me tell you why. Because it is very famous, and you are the ex-Muslim to know that when Muhammad was.
So you just accused me of lying. So you just accused me of lying. So let me bring this up. Let me give my solution.
I'm gonna take.
Okay, here. Okay, I already have it here. Sahih Bukhari. Okay, please let me talk. Sahih Bukhari is a primary source that is considered entirely authentic next to the Quran within Islamic culture and Islamic religion. In Sahih Bukhari, Hadith 4355, it says, in the pre-Islamic period of ignorance, there was a house called Dhul Khalasa, or the Kaaba of Yemen. The Prophet said to me, "Won't you relieve me from Dhul Khalasa?" So I set out with 150 riders, and we dismantled it and killed whoever was present there. Then I came to the Prophet and informed him, and he invoked good upon us and on our tribe. In another report, he says, "Bless you and your tribe." So how is that a lie? Did I make that up right now? I just gave you the source.
Yes. Yeah, let me explain to the people why I disagree with all that. Because your premise is wrong. You said that Bukhari is the righteous book or is the correct book after the Quran. And you, in this situation, taking the same position like the Daesh, the Islamic State take.
Did I just make this up? Did I just lie? Can you tell me? Can you give me a response to that? You just accused me of lying. Now you say something completely different. Did I just lie and make something up, or did I give an actual instance of something that really happened according to your Islamic sources?
No, you don't have any proof that it is. If it wasn't the Bukhari, this doesn't mean it happened. But you are not letting me know to tell you what Muhammad used to tell his army before he go.
Oh, we're gonna have to move on relatively soon, though, guys.
Yeah, I guess
feel
you
like
can.
you guys could do this forever.
Yeah. Ahmet, one thing. Ahmet, I think we are very much done here. Thank you for calling. I will say goodbye to you, and I will say a few
Call back
words.
the next time AP is on.
Yeah,
absolutely.
please, next time.
Do more of that.
What I want to say here is, I didn't make this up. According to the Islamic traditions, this is the most authentic book which tells people about the things that Muhammad did or said. If you don't accept this source, then you can't accept anything that you hold about Islam. And in this book, we have not one, not two, we have 9 sources which all say, and this is considered by Islamic standards entirely unquestionably authentic, which all say that Muhammad's guy went there and destroyed a temple and killed every single person that he found there, and Muhammad praised him for that. And this is only one example. So there goes your lie. Thank you. Sorry I had to rant, Shannon.
I forgive you.
All right. Before moving on, I want to we will have our promotion. So the ACA hosts several shows other than the Atheist Experience, including Non-Profit, Secular Sexuality, Truth Wanted, and Talk Heathen. If you didn't catch all the shows last week, here is a taste of the things you probably want to go back and watch.
I would just love to let you know that whether you choose to transition or whatever transition looks like for you, wherever you find yourself on your gender journey, that if you are telling me right now that you're a man, you get to be a gay dude today. You are a gay dude.
Pretending spirituality to date, like the person they're interested in is spiritual, and they're like, oh yeah, me too. John, you're a young man.
I would never do that.
You wouldn't do that?
I would never do that.
You meet a nice girl, she's got the crystals.
She can go do her crystals. I study rocks. I know what those crystals really do.
What begins at conception is a brand new piece of DNA. And DNA is a molecule.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't murder a molecule.
And there's lots of models out there about our universe that don't involve a first cause in this way that you're trying to make a case for it, which is going great, by the way. The thing that I am wondering is just where is the evidence, though?
So Matt's point was that the fetus is not a sentient being. It has no awareness of itself being there.
Well, actually, it's not my point, because I don't care if it's in there writing poetry and curing cancer. It doesn't have the right to use somebody else's body without their consent.
All right. You ready for another one?
And we are back. Absolutely.
Fully recovered?
Not fully.
Partially recovered enough.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah, we could go on. It works.
Okay.
Okay, we have our next guest. Did you want to be in charge of this, or do you want me to go on?
Yeah, no, I'll do it. We can talk to Dan. Okay. I'll bring Dan in.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Hello, Dan. You were on the Atheist Experience. Dan, my friend, what would you like to talk about today? Dan.
I'd like to talk about the existence of God.
Perfect. That's what we do here. It's very exciting. So what about it? Do you think God exists, I presume? Yeah, Dan? Hello.
Actually, maybe she wrote it down wrong. My name is Ben with a B.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was reading Dan. But okay, I will immediately adjust and apologize. Sorry, Ben. Go right ahead.
So at any, just don't be calling me Dan throughout the whole thing. But at any,
I will try not to.
So yes, God. I believe that God is the universe. It is all of everything. It is the all. And that, so now we have to kind of it's a major paradigm shift, which I'm going to try to explain to you. So you kind of have to forget about everything that you've been taught about what we know, because I don't believe that the Big Bang happened. So in order for God to be the universe would have to be infinite and eternal. The stars and the galaxies within the universe come and go, right? The Bible in Genesis, that story is about the birth of our system. It's not about the birth of the universe. There is no word for universe in the Jewish language.
Okay, we're gonna stop you right there because that's already a lot. So, so you think you
Okay.
brought up Genesis? Do you think that the universe is the Christian God, like the God of the Bible, Yahweh?
Well, so Buddha, I believe that Christianity is kind of like Buddhism 2.0, because there's a clip I saw about Buddha predicting the coming of Jesus.
So you don't.
Can I just add one thing before you guys
Please.
go on?
Yes.
There's a very obvious reason why there is no word for universe in the Bible. It's because people had no idea about the universe. People only could comment on
Yes,
the
exactly.
world.
There was no, I mean, nobody. There was no telescopes. There was no freaking, pictures of the universe. Nobody could conceive of anything outside of the stuff that they could see with their eye. So, and so naturally there wouldn't be a word for a universe and everything that's. But like I said, the Genesis isn't about the creation of everything. It was about the creation of our system.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there again because I'm still, before we fly right off the rails, because I'm still unclear on what you believe. So you think Genesis was written as an account of the creation of the universe? That you think that's and that the universe is God?
No,
so it
because
was Genesis is a written account of the creation of God.
Genesis is about us. It's about humans and about our planet and about the sun, Jupiter, Saturn. And I believe that the heavens was a close approximation of the planets in the past. The system, I have to credit the Thunderbolts Project for starting me on this journey. They have a documentary.
I don't know. We may have a different definition of what documentary probably means than I think. So I'm still unclear what you're thinking, because I think you're going down some rabbit trails here. So you think the universe is God? You think? No, one sec. We need to get on one point here. Like I need to get you to just help me understand where you are on even one point that you're making right now.
What do I have to explain? The universe. Okay.
The universe is God,
right? We are,
and then somehow the person who wrote the human who wrote Genesis, the Genesis account, how did they get God knowledge? If the universe is God,
it's not about. It never says. See again, it never says about the create. Okay, so yeah, you have to say in the beginning there was it was formless and void.
Formless and void. Yep. Okay. How did this person know that? How did God give them that information?
Well, I mean,
how did the universe communicate to the person with the tablet and the stick that they were going to be
the Bible
accounting for the creation of the universe, which is simultaneously God?
No. See, again, it doesn't talk about the creation of the universe. Again, you have to get. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
it doesn't.
It's about the account.
You're muted, AP.
What Ben is saying that it talks about the creation of our world, but Ben, just to clarify, because there is a confusion here, as it seems. What exactly? Okay, just a sec. Please, let us speak out before you respond. What exactly are you referring to by our world? Are you referring to the solar system?
Yeah, exactly. I'm talking about the heavens, or the close.
Got you. So you think that
referred to all of those planets.
So you think that God is the universe? The universe. No, wait. I think I understand now. Let me make sure that I understand. So you think God is the entirety of the universe, and the Genesis account is the account of just the creation of our solar system?
Yeah,
including Earth.
The Bible's about us. The Bible's about humans. Who cares about what the heck's going on in Alpha Centauri?
Okay. No, learning, I'm right though there, right? You think that Genesis is the account of the creation of our solar system. So how old do you think our solar system is?
Well, I believe in the classical ages, the Golden Age, the Silver Age, the Bronze Age, and the Iron Age. And so and then I go back and I look at mythology and what all these people were trying to tell us. It's not like fantasy fairy tale land.
How old do you think our solar system is?
Not more than tens of thousands of years. I mean, the
Oh
Jewish
my.
tradition, they have an exact date.
Okay, well, you're wrong about that then, though, right? Like you're wrong about that. So our solar system is billions of years old. So it seems odd to me, which is the point that I was getting at, that a person, even if it was only 10,000 years old, it's exceptionally odd to me that a human person, would be able to write down and recount how it took place, because they definitionally couldn't have been present at the time, right? They didn't exist yet if the solar system was not yet created.
Created at the same time.
Everything just poofed into existence simultaneously in our solar system. Or are you contradicting yourself now and saying that the entirety of the universe, including our solar system, poofed into existence simultaneously? And it still wouldn't make any sense, because that person didn't exist outside of the universe to watch it take place in order to recount it.
All right, yeah,
Like
nobody. Okay, my point. So I have more than just to quibble over split hairs here. So
I don't think that this seems like the fundamental component of what you believe. I don't think it's really split hairs. I think that it's.
So let me continue. Let me continue with the major details here. The Earth was born from Saturn. All of the planets were born from the gas giants. You understand? The spin axis of Saturn and Mars and the Earth are almost the exact same within this degree. The spin axis of the Jupiter, Loki, is almost identical to the sun. So the sun was born from Loki. Just like
where are you? Like how? Why did you put me on the screen? How did you? There is. I'm finding it incredible
because this is important stuff.
It's not important stuff. It's not though. This isn't important stuff.
The Earth.
This is nonsense. It's
Ben,
nonsense.
you obviously put a lot of you obviously put a lot of thought and a lot of work into figuring this out. I just don't understand what's the point. I just don't get it. What is the point of claiming that the universe is God?
About why we went from polytheism to monotheism at the same time.
You are
Buddhism,
all the way across the board.
Forget about all the multiple gods.
There's still polytheists now. Polytheists exist to this day all over the world.
Why did man go from polytheism to monotheism?
There's still polytheists.
What happened?
There's still polytheists. And what does that have to do with Jupiter spewing out the earth or whatever the fuck? Like, this is ridiculous.
The gods were the planets. The gods were the planets.
Okay, I think I've had enough. I think we're good. Have a lovely day. Thank you, Ben. See you later. Goodbye. This is never going to end anywhere that makes any kind of sense because, wow.
No, I was.
All right. Sorry. Maybe you were. Maybe you'll call back when I'm not here because I can't actually fucking even anymore.
I was really curious where this is going. I just don't get the point. Like, I'm listening here to the back and forth, and I'm trying to understand what is the point of the argument here.
He was just going to railroad us with nonsense.
Where exactly does God is the universe come in, and what is the point of different planetary systems and whatever? I'm not even trying to understand.
You would never have found out. He was going to railroad us with nonsense until we hung up, which is what happened.
Very interesting stuff. Just to quickly announce, we have a brand new store. You can visit. If it's going to be put on the screen, I just jumped into it. You can visit tiny.cc/merch ACA to get your favorite items like t-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, and you can check our brand new items like beanies, cell phone cases, and bags. And we even have we even feature special items, limited edition items each month now. So be sure to check that out. And right below the chat, you will also notice that there is a donate box where you can support the ACA. All of the proceedings, 100% go to the ACA. That is the best way of supporting the network. If you want to continue this discussion after this live stream, you can also join the Atheist Experience ACD Discord channel. It's a fan-run Discord server under tiny.cc/acd Discord. And finally, we also want to say thank you to the crew, which is very important. So let's say hello to the crew. Like every week, they do a great job.
Yay, crew cat. Oh,
Hello. There's a cat. They're busy. Okay, great job. Fantastic. And with that, we want to go on and take a few more calls. What do you think, Shannon?
What's the worst could happen? Let's go.
You could be surprised by it.
I don't know if I can anymore.
All right. Let's go to, I want to take Noah.
Okay.
And in Oklahoma, who says, wanted to ask
Hello.
AP about the creation story in the Quran. Hello, Noah.
Hey, Noah.
Hey, yes. I am an atheist. I'm going to OSU right now, and I just had a couple questions about the Quran, because I know you're an ex-Muslim.
Yeah.
So what does the actual creation story say in the Quran?
Just in general, you just want a breakdown of the the creation story, or?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's not very different from the Abrahamic. I don't even know where to start with that. But so what it does say is basically that, okay, there are some differences. So what it says is that there was nothing except Allah. His throne was above the water, and God then decided to create the earth and the heavens, which were at one point one entity. Then he separated them, built the heaven above us, and made them 7 heavens. Then he turned toward the earth and spread the earth and made it a bed where humans and other animals can live. He formed it, he spread it out, leveled it out. On a plain reading, this looks like it describes a flat earth, which is just built above the waters over which only Allah was in the beginning. And yeah, he built the 7 heavens. In the 7 heavens, there are the different objects like the stars, the moon, and the sun. Above those, he is there with his angels making plans and having high councils. And sometimes jinns like to go up there and listen to his secret councils. And the stars are actually adornments in the nearest heaven. And some of them are used as missiles thrown at those devils who try to sneak up to Allah and to listen to his, secret agenda and all that. And all of this happened because Allah wanted to create, beings. Just for the glory of himself. He wanted to create beings that only worship him, and he created them for no other purpose. That's what the Quran says. He created the humans and the jinn, parallel beings in the world, only so that they worship him, and he created many of us also for hellfire. So I guess that was a very encompassing breakdown of things. I hope that helps.
So my friend is actually Muslim, so I was wondering, because I try to have arguments with him, but it always goes nowhere. And I wanted to know a little bit more about what encompasses their creation story, because I'm an ex-Christian, so I know all the Christian theology, but I don't really know enough about the Quran yet. So.
Yeah. So yeah, that's very much it. You will see that in many ways there are similarities with the biblical Abrahamic account. And it also adopts the biblical, narrative of prophets and all that, although it does so inefficiently and doesn't really understand the biblical concepts of prophethood and the purpose of creation and relationship with God and all that. But yeah, it has some slight differences in that it explicitly says Allah created humans and the jinns only so that they worship him. And it also explicitly says he created many of them just for hell. So these are things that you can actually find directly in the Quran, which makes things very convenient for critics like me. Yeah.
Does the Quran actually say that Muhammad rode on a unicorn horse kind of thing?
It doesn't say that. What it says is that Muhammad on one night made a journey, And that is then further described and elaborated in the secondary sources, in the hadiths, as they are called, which are reports, supposed witness accounts about Muhammad. And according to that story, Muhammad one morning told everyone that overnight he was visited by an angel, and his heart was taken out of his chest and was washed and purified. And then a horse was brought to him. He sat on the back of the horse, went to Jerusalem, and then from there ascended to the heaven. Of course, you could say that this is just a dream, but to him it was an actual thing.
It sounds very similar to some of the other Abrahamic religions. I know that they all came from older religions too. If you look into like the different religions, they all have very similar like origin stories. I've looked at different Egyptian stuff too, and I've looked into it, and that's also what kind of convinced me to be an atheist, is like all these things, just all these stories come from other stories. It's like copies of copies, basically, that men just wrote down. And yeah, I'm actually a huge fan of the Atheist Experience. I've been watching Matt destroy people for weeks after weeks. So yeah, I mean, I think that I really wish that I wasn't a Christian before, because like I can see how ridiculous the arguments are. I actually just had like a huge argument with my sister because she's a Christian extremist, because she believes like all that QAnon stuff, you know, like mercury, you know, in the vaccines causes autism and all that ridiculous nonsense. And I pretty much destroyed her argument, and then she just blocked me. It was pretty sad, though. Yeah.
That's unfortunate to hear. It could always be worse. You could be an ex-Muslim. So, yeah.
Yeah, it could be an ex-JW or an ex-Muslim. You know, I'm an ex-Baptist / my mom is Messianic, so she's like super extreme. Like, I can't even talk to her because she'll just say that all kinds of extreme stuff, like I'm gonna burn in hell for being trans or bisexual, or you know, like I'm gonna be judged on Judgment Day, blah blah blah. I mean, it just gets really dark and messed up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Noah.
I wish you all the best.
Yeah,
Thank you for calling.
It's unfortunate, you know. I just wish she wasn't indoctrinating my sister, because I worry for my sister, you know.
Yeah. Well, I hope everything will get better. I hope everything will get better for you.
Thankfully, my dad has accepted me being trans, so that's good. You know, I mean, it's
awesome.
Cool, but you know, I'm actually the vice president of OSQ&A here on campus, so that's pretty great.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
I'm also starting my own podcast soon for I don't know what I'm going to call it yet. I'm thinking either like The American Atheist or like Godless Fools, something like that. And just to plug real quick.
Oh, we don't do plugs. Sorry. We have to let you go. Have a good rest of your day.
But thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you.
It's good that you jumped in there, Shannon.
Yeah.
But thank you so much again for calling.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue. Do you want to go next, Shannon?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Let's see. Oh, well, this one looks fine. This person doesn't have a name listed, so I'm uncertain how to address them. But yeah, hello, person who's not provided a name.
Oh,
you were on the line.
Oh, I did provide the name. It says Parham Shumbuli. It was in the name section.
Oh, Parham. Okay, I'm so sorry. Yeah, no, I see it now. I saw the question mark. Okay, Parham. My apologies. Go right ahead.
No problem. Yeah, I've spoken to Apostate Atheist before, and the hint is the.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. We can hear you again. You cut out.
Just cut out for a second.
You've cut out.
Did I cut
Yes.
out? I apologize.
You
I
did.
don't know what happened. I heard a beep again, so I was back on. Yeah, I was saying I've spoken to Apostate Atheist before, and his and the clue is that how the meat goes bad under Islam. I think he knows what that is. You remember that bit. But my main question here is, although I'm not a theist myself, my main premise is I don't believe. I mean, if you've seen the Pew polls, if you've seen the demographic shifts across Europe, certainly, and potentially this could happen or come over to the United States, we are having a major influx of immigrants from the Middle East, and the Muslims in Britain are growing, and the pupils indicate that they will at least be 15 to 16% of the population in the near future, 20, 30 years at best. And with this shift, there will come severe, shall we say, voting blocs, or serious voting blocs that will emerge in Britain and in Europe. My main question is, I believe liberalism will not be able to fend off an influx of extremely theological, or people who have a theological foundation. I think only theology has been proven to have the foundational fortitude, if you like, or the substance, it has the foundational strength to fight an incoming extreme religion like Islam, which it has done in the past. Christianity is the only example we have of a philosophy or a worldview that stood up to Islam and prevailed. I don't think liberalism has such a strong foundation, and it will ultimately yield and fold to a strong Islamic onslaught, especially in Europe and potentially in the United States. Can you guys present me with an argument that says liberalism can overcome this?
Liberalism? I don't even know what you mean by liberalism.
Well,
to be perfectly honest with you, are you using that as, because you're using it in a context where you're saying that being a theist is going to be what you think is going to best combat other theists, which seems kind of silly to me, because theists historically aren't particularly great at convincing each other to convert to each other's religions any more than somebody who is secular is. Are you using liberalism as a synonym for like atheism or secularism? Do you think society shouldn't be secular?
All the Enlightenment values, Hume, Locke, all the Enlightenment values, none of them have the foundation to actually stand up.
So you think that there should, in order to fight a theocracy, you think that the best answer would be to instill a different theocracy, one that you're more okay with?
My only position is that the only example we have of any worldview that has stood up and won against Islam is Christianity.
Yeah. And how did the Christians go about doing all of that winning in the past?
Well,
I would disagree with that. I would disagree with that premise to begin with. I think it wasn't just Christianity, and Christianity was also not the only religion that was, under attack or bothersome to the world. I would say that other cultures could say that they also fought off Christianity or fought off Christians, just as Christians fought off Islam. It's just a long history of how things went, and I would say that Christianity was in the end fought off in the West, and I could say that putting an end to an Islamic empire in the world, this is a lot of stuff that I didn't think we would actually get in right now on Atheist Experience, was also not done by Christianity. That was done by European forces, which did not act on behalf of Christianity. They just acted on behalf of their own secular interests. So I don't get the whole idea of Christianity being the force.
And this also seems to be underpinned with the notion that everybody who is a Muslim is a certain kind of way, and that's also not necessarily that's it's end loaded with some assumptions about Muslims in general, and it seems to be an argument that people should be more like Christians because I want to fight the Muslims, and that's the best weapon that I can think of. And I think that that's just not the best posture to have to begin with. I think the best way to fight bad ideas is with good ideas, and Christianity is not a good idea. If it was a good idea, I would believe it. Same with Islam. So, and within like a society, if you think that an influx of people who are different than you are going to permeate a society in a way that's detrimental, then your best arguments against that would be demonstrating that it's detrimental, not saying, well, in the past, Christians have had some, I guess, and this is tenuous and arguable, obviously, according to what AP just said, have had some success in combating this innocuous group of people that I'm ill-defining. then maybe we should what? I don't know. Like what is your proposed solution? Like force people to be Christian, convince people they should be Christian, import more Christians? Like I don't know what your end game would even be here. Just purport to and perpetuate good ideas. Become an activist for good ideas. That seems to be probably one of the best solutions.
That is, unfortunately, I totally disagree because that doesn't actually hold up to fundamental human thinking and human behavior. People don't just
fundamental
necessarily good ideas. No, because they don't. They actually, we're much more emotional creatures than we are these supposed logical, I don't know, robots.
So you don't think that people can be, no, so now you're just saying that people act emotionally, which, yeah, sure, absolutely. So if you, and you think what? That if you convince people to first, like your plan would have to be first, I'm going to convince all these people to be Christian that aren't Christian. And then what? Point them at the other people who like you're imbuing people with bad ideas in order to combat bad ideas. That seems
I want to say
on its face silly.
I agree with one thing. I think Parham is one point that I think he's sort of right on, which is that there are lots of people, lots of demographics that hold views which are very worrying. Mm-hmm. And for example, in the UK, there was a big poll from years ago where the majority of the Muslim population, for example, said that homosexuality is immoral and should not be allowed. I think 0% of Muslims said that homosexuality is acceptable, and many people say that Islam should become a state religion. Yes.
45% said.
But the answer to that isn't more Christianity, though. Look what's going on in Texas right now. Look what's going on all throughout the states with women's rights, with trans people's rights, with like making people more Christian. Just steals a lot of the same people's rights from them.
Yeah, I think the whole premise, the premise
same targets are going to be collateral damage in that plan.
The premise is that that there is a danger, that there's a rising danger, and a Christian mindset could counter that properly. But I just don't see how I don't see why that would be the good alternative, considering that we want to uphold human rights and secularism.
We would hold hands, skipping away, taking away the rights from gay, trans people and women. Are you kidding me? Like, look what Christians do when you give them power. They take rights away from gay people, trans people, and women. They're fucking doing it right now. I refuse to listen to an argument that says, well, at least that's better than Islam. Let's get some more Christians, because what? Society would be better for who? Not me.
Go ahead, Parham. Please go ahead, clarify, please.
I just want to interject by simply saying, I think you're missing the forest for the trees. What I'm talking about isn't necessarily that Christianity is superior in its ideology. I'm simply saying that Christianity is the only one that has a winning record against the forces of Islam. But not only that.
You want to start a fire to stop a fire.
Basis. No, but
I disagree with that, though.
Well, I know you disagree with the premise, but I think history attests to it. But it doesn't matter. That's not even the real point. My point is that theism or theology has the moral foundations to be able to resist against such as Islam, whilst the secular and Enlightenment values don't have those moral foundations in order to actually combat this ideology. I think that when it really boils down to secular and Enlightenment values are you do you, I do me, and it's all good.
Well, that's just a misrepresentation of what people's values are. You're assuming that anybody who isn't Christian or a part of Islam that is an atheist, is a secular, is just going around going, you know what? You do you, I do me.
Okay,
we don't need to care about each other. Whatever. Screw all the rest of the people. To heck with society. We don't even need to live within it. Like, that is just silly.
No. Here's the thing. Enlightenment ideas and liberal ideas, liberal democracy is not like a religion that has fundamental tenets that we all have to adhere to and we can't change. On the contrary, I would say that the proponents of liberal ideas, such as freedom of speech, for example, said a lot of things that most of us today find completely unacceptable, like making certain separations about people's races and how some are better than the others, for example. That's people like John Stuart Mill, as far as I remember, even said some things that are completely unacceptable today. So the issue is the Enlightenment brought us ideas that took us out of an authoritarianism that restricted society from, acting upon its own thought and its own intellect, and moving forward. Now we are moving forward, but that doesn't mean we have to hold on to certain things that those people thought and said. What this means is that we are free nowadays to be rational, to look at the facts, the problems that we have in our world, and to then make proper decisions based on what is best for the future, for humanity, what is best for us. If you think there is a danger coming from a certain direction, then what we should do is to point out that there is a danger, to acknowledge it, and to find a way to deal with that danger. The right thing to do in this case would not be to erase all these ideas and to go back to a Christian worldview, which will then help us out of the situation. I would think that is reactionary by definition and counterproductive. But I get the point, and thank you, Parham. I want to ask you just one thing to lighten up the situation here. You mentioned something very nice at the very beginning. You mentioned the conversation that we had at the beginning about how meat goes bad according to Islamic teachings. Can you please enlighten us about that?
Oh, certainly. Yeah. I mean, I think you and I discussed that on your show a long time ago.
Yeah.
Verses in the Quran. I mean, I can see if I can bring one of them up. It is narrated by Abu Hurairah. The Prophet said, "If it was not for the Israelites, meat would have not decayed, and it would, and if it was not for Eve, wives would never betray their husbands." And this is a hadith. So. Yeah, we've got the Jews to blame for everything, including meat going bad. I know it's a joke, but this is.
And we have to blame Eve for how horrible women are, apparently. So, yeah.
Of course, women cheating is purely down to Eve. If it wasn't for her, it would all be good now. We'd have obedient wives, which I don't think Shannon would agree in 1 second.
No.
But thank you so much, Parham. Thank you for adding that to the conversation. Of course, we completely disagree with that. Yeah. Thank you.
I think you made a good point. Like it seems that ignoring the fact that coming out of religious thought and theological thoughts allows you to expand because you're not constrained seems to be kind of important. But what do I know? Let's all just be Christian, because then at least
be a good idea
to Muslim. I guess I don't know.
That's a weird way of thinking. Like oh, there is a big problem here going on, so let's just go back to 400 years ago and just
that's right.
Yeah. Okay. So let's take another caller, I guess, right?
Yeah, sure. I got one more in me. Let's do it. Make it good.
Okay.
Make it good.
Make it good.
Make it good.
Make it good. I'm not sure if I can do that, but
Mm.
okay. So we have Derrick, him from South Carolina, who says, "I've heard y'all say you don't choose what you're convinced of. I have nuanced thoughts on that.
Oh,
I'm
cool.
curious, what is this about?"
Yeah.
Hello,
Hey, Derrick.
Derrick. Hello.
Hello, Derrick.
Did I not take this call?
Derrick.
Okay.
Derrick.
Hello there.
Hello?
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we hear you.
Hey.
Okay, great. Okay, so Shannon, I was wondering if you are familiar with something called the locus of control.
The locus of control? Yeah. That just means that the locus just
Is that a real thing?
means
Is that a
it's
real
important.
thing, or is that pseudoscience?
When you say, like, what do you mean when you say locus of control? Though? Like, I'm familiar with it as a term.
Like they say
is
that
what it
there's,
means.
there's some people that can tend to see ghosts, and they tend to see UFOs and Bigfoot. And there's other people that, like for me, example, I never think I saw a ghost or I think I saw a UFO. I don't have any of that. So they would say that I have a high locus of control, where other people that tend to see ghosts, they have a low locus of control.
So locus of control means like where the control lies. That's what locus means, is where it lies, right? So the locus of control, like if somebody says you have a high locus of control in and of itself that wouldn't make a lot of sense unless you contextualize it to where the locus is. So are they saying that you have like a locus of control as though like you're personally in control of your perceptions? Is that what you're attempting to try to say? As opposed to an external locus of control, like an internal locus versus external? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, I'm just learning about it, so I have questions about it.
Okay.
So I guess back to what I told the lady at the call center. I want to know if people do actually control what they believe by avoiding literature and videos that might change their mind.
Oh, okay. I understand the question.
Their
Okay.
locus of control would be, I can see that if I believe the Earth is 10,000 years old, then I will avoid looking at all the James Webb Telescope images because they're just going to say that this thing is 13.7 billion years ago, and this is, they don't like to. They want to avoid that.
Yeah. So I would say that you have control over what you expose yourself to, but not control over what you find compelling.
What you're convinced of.
Right. Yeah. I don't think you have control over what you're convinced of, but you have control over what you expose yourself to. Yep. Sure.
Right. So
to a certain degree.
The other week,
AP could just start yelling crap right now, and I don't have any control over that, and I'd probably hear it. It's been my whole afternoon. Sorry, I keep going. Go ahead.
Ask you. You kind of got upset with a caller that claimed that people that believe in gods have mental illness, and I don't believe that. But I do believe that it's also not Dunning-Kruger. I think there's another block, a mental block, that they do have control of that is keeping them from absorbing the information that would definitely change their mind.
So you're talking more about dissonance then, potentially. Right?
I think that is not really what locus of control is about. I remember learning about that very briefly during my during psychology, but I don't think that that focuses on this. But you would be saying what you're talking about is rather a cognitive bias in that you want to believe in certain things based on your own internal will to just block out information that might change your beliefs. You have certain confirmation bias and other biases that direct you toward believing what you want to believe in.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
so are you saying you can control your biases? Is that what you're trying to say? That like people selectively...
A very short example.
Go ahead.
I have a very short example. Okay, so somebody that I've been talking to about whether God exists, I don't believe, and they do. They said they found some evidence for me that there's the mitochondrial Eve, and it proves that all humans came from one woman and one man. And
like thousands of years ago.
I know that's not true. And there's also multiple mitochondrial Eves that go up to 200,000 years ago. And so when I show them a convincing video that educates you on what mitochondrial Eve is, it's basically no, that's not true. And I'm not going to continue watching something that might change my mind. And where Matt or somebody else might say, you can't control what you're convinced of.
I agree with that.
Clearly, they are choosing to control what they believe.
No, I don't think so.
How does that not something not mental illness, but a barrier in the mind that's keeping them from going the next step?
It is a cognitive bias. I mean, I would say that there is still something at play, which I would say many of them don't really have much control over, but to a certain extent also do have. Like just this morning, for example, I had a discussion about reincarnation, and people were basically giving me sources which apparently they supposedly prove that reincarnation is true, and most of those sources were blog posts or a very dramatically done documentary, just things that don't prove anything, but things that rather appeal to a confirmation bias that people have. Whereas if you present them alternative explanations, they will just block those things out because it's convenient to ignore things that change your beliefs. I think that that there is a mix of factors at play here. The one thing is people want to be comfortable and they don't want to be faced with different things that might change their beliefs. On the other hand, I think people also unknowingly, without intending to do so, hold on to their beliefs, which make them feel, warm and comfortable. There's something within them, a bias, which blocks them from learning new information which might change their beliefs. It is scary. Humans feel scared of learning new things that might put them into new territory that
Do you think
might
this is
shake their entire
just
world.
like a bravery thing? Are you saying this is just like a bravery thing?
Not necessarily. It is just I don't know if I can make it as simple as that, to make it about courage either. It is just a bias that people
I think
have.
it's important that it's not a choice, though. Like, cognitive biases aren't something that we go, you know what,
Yeah,
today I'm going to just choose to not allow any contrary information in at all whatsoever. Like, that's not something that
So you're saying it's kind of like you're either an introvert or an extrovert, and you can't control that.
not entirely. It's more so what I'm saying is move your lips, Peep, so that it looks like you're saying this because you're on the screen right now. I think. More so what
I don't know why I'm here, but
I know, just move your lips a bit. More so what I'm saying is that you can't change what it is that you're compelled by, right? So these people that are like, AP just did a pretty good job of explaining it. These people that are exposed to something that like butts up against their belief, that creates dissonance. So they end up having cognitive dissonance about what's going on. That's sort of an uncomfortable feeling. And people have basically three choices when they have dissonance. One is to change their mind and accept the contrary information is accurate. The second is to like ignore or dismiss it. And the third is to like live in that feeling and that those are your only three choices, and just to live in that discomfort and just kind of like try to find a way to block it out. A lot of people will choose options 2 and 3. They'll either they'll live in that discomfort and try to find a way to block it out and just dismiss it entirely, or they'll attempt to incorporate it into reconciling with their existing belief and misrepresent it cognitively and internally. Not very many people will say, oh, okay, well, now I'm just going to change my mind. But that's not a conscious decision. It's not like people say, well, I could do one of these 3 things. I think I'm going to, even though I know this is true, I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to find a way to justify it by like pushing it up against other things I already believe, or attacking the person it came from, or saying that I don't like the source that it came from, or mistrusting where the information came from. Those are all things that we do inherently. We don't make choices to do them. We're just kind of just the way we're wired, right? It's not.
Yeah, I encounter a lot of people who are accused of lying, but what they're actually doing is they're lying to themselves in order to hold on to certain beliefs that they want to hold on to, and they are not even aware that they are lying to themselves. It is just something that they react with because it makes them feel more comfortable, and they feel like they need to do this, but they have no control over that. It's a bias. It's a cognitive bias, and it's probably something natural, and it has explanations like in evolutionary psychology that it is done for functional purposes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I hear you, and you both did an excellent job at answering my question, but I still feel like there's some kind of hard wiring that changed Matt's mind. Matt Dillahunty was, the model Christian and looking to fulfill his promise of 1 Peter 3:15. He wasn't able to do it. He got out, and I just feel like that was a choice.
So you think that he was exposed to like?
It wasn't a choice.
I don't think you can say that. I can't speak for Matt, but I think that he would agree with me when I say that whatever it is that finally tips the scales for you isn't something that you get to pick. It's a thing that happens to you. It's a thing that happens to you. You're not exposed to the same information over and over and over again and go, you know what? I know it's true. However, even though I know it's true, I'm going to choose not to believe it. And then you do that 150 more times. And then one day, for whatever reason, you say, well, I guess today's the day that I'm going to, admit that I know it's true. It's something tips the scales for you. You can stack the deck by choosing what you expose yourself to. You can actively go out and attempt to pursue information, which is, I think, a great way to live, to attempt to pursue information that may contradict you so that you can make sure that you're consistently challenging yourself. That's a great way to live, I think. But not many people will do it. And even that isn't a guarantee that the thing that you're even going to expose yourself to the thing that tips the scales.
And maybe you're even doing that because of things in your life.
Do you think in the future there could be a real life red pill and blue pill?
No.
Like it will be in real life one day where you can take the pill that will give you release that block so that you can see the evidence for what it is.
I don't think it's possible. I always think I am currently at a situation, at the state that I am as an ex-Muslim and atheist or whatever I am, because of factors that are largely out of my control, or out of my control at stages when I was more intelligent and educated. Much of what I am today depends on things that happened before I was born, on my genetics, on things that happened throughout my lifetime. If things had gone slightly differently, I might have ended up being a completely different person, as I'm very much at the mercy of lots of things that happened that are completely out of my control, which is kind of a sad thing to say, to believe in, but I guess I think that's the best explanation that I have.
I think it's just true.
What about split brain, Shannon?
What about split brain? What about
split brain, Shannon? What about split brain, Shannon?
The corsum callosum or whatever that
corpus callosum. Yeah, it's not a procedure that happens very frequently anymore. It was mostly done as a way to solve epileptic seizures, to resolve them for people.
Right, but one half atheist and one half theist or something.
I've heard somewhere somebody say that. There might be one example of that, but I think a lot of people misrepresent a lot of the split brain science. It doesn't say quite as much as people on both sides act like it does. It's fascinating from a perceptual perspective because you can control exposure to visual fields and test all kinds of interesting things about the brain and how it constructs information as a result of controlling exposure through visual field. But it doesn't have anything to do with, decision making.
Yeah,
what I can gather.
You just said
but I think it was a very interesting conversation.
Gather evidence. Didn't you say it helps you change the way you gather information?
You can gather all kinds of interesting information when a person has a split brain because you can control visual field exposures because we process vision bilaterally. So we have two different visual fields. Like everything on the right side of us hits the left side of our eye and then is processed also on the left side of our brain and vice versa because it crosses over at the optic chiasm. But all I'm saying is that what we can do is we can expose people to things in one visual field and something different in a different visual field and then ask them to respond. Usually whatever's in the right visual field, you'd be able to get a verbal response because the Wernicke's area is over on the left-hand side. Generally on the left-hand side, you'll only be able to get some sort of response to things on the left visual field by using your opposite hand to write it out because you're not going to be able to articulate it. So we find out things like that. So it's just a way of gathering interesting information, but that wasn't me talking about the brain itself gathering information better or different than or worse than.
Thank you for.
And I think we are done here today.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
I think that was a very interesting conversation. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Hey, to Hadith, you have to listen to brain stuff. That's the rule. Fair trade.
No, it was very good. It was very enlightening. But Ed, Derrick, thank you so much for the call. I think we have to let everyone go now.
We're over time.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Derrick, and have a fantastic day.
We did it. Woohoo!
All right. With that, I think we are at the end of the show, right? Of course, I did a perfect job at hosting this. I think I did amazing.
It was amazing. Next time, I'm not even going to show up.
Yeah, I'm so proud.
For the record, he tried to kick me up before the show started, but I refused to leave.
Yeah. I said, Shannon, you can go. I'll do this by myself. I don't need you here. You can go rest, take a nap.
Everybody needs me. Who do you think you are?
Well, thanks everyone for viewing this amazing, fantastic, brilliant show. And yeah, so if you want to support this channel, again, you can do that on Patreon, tiny.cc/PatreonAXP. You can also under this screen here, you will find the join button, and you can join for 99 cents per month, and you can get lots of new feeds like those brilliant looking emojis. And before we go, I also want to say thanks to the crew, because they are amazing. They did a great job once more. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Hello.
Real heroes.
Hello. Thank you. And with that, is there anything that you want to say before we leave, Shannon, or?
No, it was a pleasure hosting with you, and thank you for carrying this show so that I could just sit here drinking my tea and my water.
It's fantastic. Soon I will take over all, and I will kick every other host out
the
of here.
Apostate Prophet Experience Network.
Yeah. I will kick Matt out too, and this will be my show.
It's about time.
Yeah. Well, thanks everybody. Have a fantastic day. We will meet again on a different show, a different episode. This was the Atheist Experience, and we'll see you again.
Bye.
What will it take for you to start opening your eyes, to start questioning the bullshit everyone around you buys? You think it's any of your business what goes on between my thighs? I wonder when we'll be rid of your lies.
It's time to get sexy, so watch Secular Sexuality live Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central. Visit tiny.cc/YTSS and call into the show at 512-991-9242 or connect to the show online at tiny.cc/callsex.